You hit your revenue goal this quarter, the one you've been chasing for 2 years, and instead of celebrating, you're sitting in your car in the school pickup line, completely exhausted, wondering why success feels this hard. Here's what most entrepreneurs don't tell you. Rapid growth isn't the reward, it's the stress test. And right now, your brain is running on outdated software while your business demands an upgrade. The real problem isn't that you're working too hard. It's that you're making too many decisions with a decision-making system that wasn't built for this level of complexity. Every choice, from hiring your first VP to deciding which client request to prioritize, feels heavier than it should because your brain is treating business decisions like survival decisions. Today I'm showing you 3 decision-making patterns that break down during growth and the framework to fix them before burnout hits. Let me walk you through the 3 ways your brain starts to malfunction when your business scales faster than your systems can handle. The first trap is what I call analysis paralysis. This is the perfectionist nightmare. You used to make decisions quickly based on intuition and gut feel. That's how you built the business in the first place. But now, every decision feels like it needs a full business case, a spreadsheet, and 3 opinions from mentors. Here's what's actually happening. Your pre-growth intuition, the one that got you to 6 figures, starts to feel irresponsible at 7 figures. You're comparing yourself to competitors who seem to have everything figured out. And suddenly your instincts feel amateur. So you research, you analyze, you wait for perfect information that never comes. The cognitive load of this is massive. You're not just deciding whether to launch a new service line. You're also managing the internal narrative that says a real CEO would know this already. And while you're stuck in research mode, time-sensitive opportunities slip past. I've watched entrepreneurs miss entire market windows because they were still building the perfect pitch deck. The second trap is the people-pleasing pivot. Rapid growth attracts more stakeholders with competing priorities. Your team wants clarity. Your clients want customization. Your investors want scale. Your family wants you present. And somewhere in there, you're trying to make everyone happy. This is where the good girl conditioning that many of us carry becomes a business liability. Saying no feels like failure. Setting boundaries feels like letting people down. So you say yes to the client request that doesn't fit your model. You say yes to the speaking opportunity that drains your energy. You say yes to the team member who wants to pivot the strategy mid-quarter. What you're actually doing is making decisions based on others' expectations rather than your strategic vision. You're code switching between business owner and caregiver so often that you've lost track of what you actually want to build. The exhaustion isn't from the work itself, it's from constantly trying to be the version of yourself that everyone else needs. The third trap is firefighting mode. This one's insidious because it feels productive. There's an adrenaline rush to putting out fires. A client emergency, a team conflict, a cash flow crunch. You swoop in, solve the problem, and feel like you've accomplished something. But here's the truth. Firefighting keeps you in survival mode. Your nervous system gets stuck in a pattern where it expects crisis. So your brain starts scanning for problems even when there aren't any. You become hypervigilant, reactive, and unable to focus on the deep strategic work that actually grows the business. The illusion is that busy equals effective. But firefighting is the opposite of leadership. Real leadership is preventing the fires in the first place by building systems, setting clear expectations, and making proactive decisions before they become urgent. Here's what I need you to understand. These patterns aren't character flaws. They're your brain's attempt to protect you from the cognitive overload of rapid growth. Your nervous system doesn't know the difference between missing payroll and your child running a fever. It treats both as threats. So it defaults to the fastest decision-making shortcut available, even if that shortcut is making you less effective. The way out isn't to power through, it's to build new systems. The neuroscience of the 2 CEO brain. Let me explain what's actually happening in your brain when you're trying to scale a business while managing a household. Your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for threat detection, doesn't distinguish between missing payroll and a child's fever. Both trigger the same stress response. Both flood your system with cortisol. Both put you in fight or flight mode. And when you're living in chronic stress, something critical happens to your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for strategic thinking, planning, and complex decision making. It literally shrinks. This isn't metaphorical. Research on emotion differentiation shows that when you're under sustained stress, your brain loses its ability to distinguish between different types of pressure. Everything feels equally urgent. Everything feels like a crisis. And that's when you start making reactive decisions instead of strategic ones. Now add the unique cognitive load of balancing family care and business scaling. There's a concept called task switching costs. Every time you shift from mum mode to CEO mode, your brain has to completely recalibrate. Different priorities, different decision criteria, different emotional states, and each switch depletes your decision-making energy. But here's what makes it worse for high-performing women. You're not just switching between two roles, you're carrying what researchers call the invisible mental load. You're pre-deciding everything: what's for dinner, when the school forms are due, which vendor to choose, how to restructure the team, whether to take the investor meeting. All of it is running in the background of your mind all the time. Your caregiving responsibilities create a baseline stress level that makes every business decision feel heavier than it should. When you're already managing the mental logistics of 3 people's schedules before you even open your laptop, you're starting the workday with a depleted decision-making reserve. And here's the part that nobody talks about. Decision fatigue is not a personal failure. It's a physiological reality. Your brain makes approximately 35,000 decisions per day. Each decision, whether it's choosing breakfast or hiring a VP, depletes the same mental resource. By evening, your decision-making capacity is measurably worse than it was in the morning. That's why you agree to things at night that you regret in the morning. There's a phenomenon I see constantly with my clients. I call it the decision queue. It's the running list of unmade decisions that follows you everywhere. Should I fire that underperformer? Should I raise prices? Should I say yes to that partnership? These open loops don't just sit quietly in the background. They actively drain your cognitive resources, even when you're not consciously thinking about them. And high-performing women are especially vulnerable to this because perfectionism meets unlimited responsibility. You don't just want to make good decisions, you want to make perfect decisions, and you feel personally responsible for every outcome, every person affected, every potential consequence. Understanding the science doesn't fix the problem, but it does give you permission to stop trying to power through and start building systems instead. Let me give you 3 tools that will fundamentally change how you make decisions. These aren't about doing more, they're about deciding less, so the decisions you do make actually move your business forward. The first tool is the strategic filter. This is about pre-deciding your non-negotiables before opportunities show up at your door. Right now, you're evaluating every opportunity from scratch. A speaking invitation comes in and you spend an hour weighing the pros and cons. A potential client reaches out and you agonize over whether they're the right fit. A partnership opportunity lands in your inbox and you tie yourself in knots trying to decide. Here's what changes everything. Create your decision criteria now. Before you're in the moment, what's your revenue threshold? What's your time commitment limit? What has to align with your long-term vision? Write these down, make them concrete. When a great opportunity appears, you run it through the filter first. If it doesn't meet 2 out of 3 criteria, it's an automatic no. No guilt, no second guessing, no mental energy wasted. I had a client who was drowning in speaking requests. Every invitation felt flattering. Everyone seemed important. We built a filter together. Does it pay above her minimum threshold? Does it reach her ideal client? Does it fit in her calendar without requiring travel on weekends? 3 criteria. Clear answers. Within a month, she went from spending hours deliberating to making decisions in under 5 minutes. Her calendar opened up. Her revenue increased because she was only saying yes to opportunities that actually served her business. The second tool is the energy audit. For 1 week, track which decisions leave you energized versus drained. You'll be surprised by what you find. Most entrepreneurs are spending massive amounts of energy on low-impact choices that someone else could handle or that don't need to be made at all. Here's what to do. Keep a simple note on your phone. After each significant decision, mark it as energizing or draining. At the end of the week, look for patterns. Are you spending energy on operational decisions that your team could own? Are you agonizing over client communication that could be templated? Are you making the same decision repeatedly because you haven't systemized it? The 80-20 rule applies here. 20% of your decisions create 80% of your results. Your job is to identify which decisions actually require your strategic input and delegate or automate everything else. This isn't about being lazy. It's about protecting your cognitive resources for the decisions that truly matter. The third tool is the evening reset routine. This one changes everything because it directly addresses the decision queue problem I mentioned earlier. Your subconscious processes open loops while you sleep. Every unmade decision is running in the background, draining your mental energy and disrupting your rest. 10 minutes before bed, do a complete brain dump of tomorrow's decisions. Write them all down, every single one. Then categorize each decision into 3 buckets. Must decide tomorrow, can delegate, can eliminate. That's it. You're not solving the problems tonight. You're just clearing the queue. What happens next is remarkable. Your nervous system gets the signal that it's safe to rest. You're not abandoning the decisions, you're organizing them. You wake up with a clear mind instead of a racing one. The decisions that felt overwhelming at night often feel manageable in the morning because your prefrontal cortex is fresh and your stress hormones are balanced. Here's your transformation. You go from reactive firefighter to proactive architect of your business. Choose one tool to implement this week, just one. The strategic filter if you're drowning in opportunities, the energy audit if you're exhausted but can't figure out why. The evening reset if your mind won't stop racing. Small changes in decision making create exponential results over time. You don't have to figure this out alone. Resilience is built through practice and support. Rapid growth isn't breaking you, it's revealing where your systems need to evolve.